Hey guys, this is Spartan D from Team Astrov Evo, and I'm here to bring you a deck profile on the Murakumo Mandala deck. So let's get started. Our starter Vanguard is Stealth Beast Evil Ferret. What he does is he has the Pioneer effect, which is if you ride a Murakumo unit over this card, you get to move him to the rear guard circle. So yeah. And the secondary effect is if you put this card at the bottom of your deck, you get to play a card from a Murakumo unit from your hand to the field, and it'll return at the end, return back to your hand at the end of your turn. What the cards you usually use with this effect is basically if you want to like you can actually use it for like an early game rush, which is you can even call it grade 3, which is like Mandala Lord, and yeah, which is the main part of this deck, and you can also use and it will return to your hand if you wanted to use the effect. So for this card, so basically what you do is like by turn 2, if you got I wouldn't say you got damaged, but if you got your first move to attack your opponent, you basically like rush them with this guy, and it would be pretty hard to guard this early on. So it'll be able to get good damage on your opponent. So yeah, and other cards you could probably do with this is the null guard for Murakumo, which is just if you want to have a 1-turn booster. So and which is rarely the case, but also what are cards? You can also use it for the Midnight Crow, which is the grade 2. Is if you place on the Vanguard or rear guard circle, you counterblast 1, and you search for the copy of that same card, and then you call it to the rear guard circle, and yeah, and then by the end of the turn, one actually bounces back to your hand, and 1 goes back to the bottom of your deck. So, and then you get to reuse that same effect the next turn if you want to, but yeah, and that's probably the only cards you will probably be using for this effect with, but yeah. Next up, our trigger lineup is for the heal triggers, Stealth Fiend Yukihime, for Stealth Beast Cat Rogue, the draw trigger. For Stealth Beast Moon Edge, which is the critical trigger, and for Stealth Beast Dart Spider, which is the stand trigger. The reason why I run these triggers is these are the only triggers that are out at the moment in the English format. So yeah, but if I were to choose between the triggers, I would probably go with stand triggers in this deck, because there's a lot of on-hit Vanguard effects, which is yeah, which is usually you probably pressure your opponent to always guard against it, just so they don't let you get the effect off as easily. So, and they'll be burning cards in their hand just to guard against it, or wasting intercepts. But yeah, I'll probably replace the draw triggers or the critical triggers just for the next stand triggers once they come out, which is probably in a while. So, but in any case, we're stuck with these triggers. Anyways, our grade 1 lineup is I run 4 Stealth Dragon Turbulent Edge. What he does is he's one of those on-hit Vanguard effects where if you land a hit on a Vanguard, you get to check the top 5 cards of your deck for and choose up to 1 Mandala Lord, which is the main part of this deck. And then once that happens, you put the rest of the cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. So this actually helps you build a stack at the bottom of your deck, just like the Oracle Think Tank Tsukiyomi build. But I don't think it works as well as a Tsukiyomi, but this is still something. So yeah. Next up is I run For Stealth Rogue of Silence, Maru. He is your basic AK vanilla booster or attacker, whoever you want to call it, and he's it's recommended or is probably a necessity to run 4 of these in your deck because right now the Murakumos are hitting for really low numbers, and it's pretty hard to actually outpower a lot of decks with it right now. So yeah, you may want you probably have to run these. So next up, I run for Stealth Beast Leaves Mirage. He is your Murakumo Null Guard, which is basically you put this on a guard circle and use it, discard 1 Murakumo card from your hand just to negate that attack for 1 battle. Yeah, it just negates 1 battle rather. And if it's attacking a Murakumo unit, which is all the cards that are in there, but I used to run a hybrid Nubatama Murakumo deck, but I'll get to that another time. So yeah. And then I run 2 Stealth Beast Leaf Raccoon. He is your 10k Vanguard booster. The only way he can pull off this effect is if you have more cards in your hand than your opponent. It's like so like usually you want to pressure your opponent to just use their hand just to block against those on hit Vanguard effects, so you don't get your effect off, and hopefully you'll be able to have more cards in your hand than your opponent by the time you attack with your Vanguard. I usually attack with the Vanguard last in this deck, so usually second or last with this deck, depending on how my field is. So yeah. Then our grade 2 lineup, I run 3 Stealth Dragon Curse Breath. He's basically the same version as the grade 1. He's basically the same version as the grade 1. He searches for top 5 cards for the Mandala Lord, and he put the rest of it on the bottom of the deck. The only reason I run 3 rather than 4 is, like I mentioned before, this deck lacks power, so I rather not run 4. So, because in my preference, I like to run more power over utility. But yeah, so yeah. Then I run 4 Stealth Beast Bloody Mist. He's your grade 2 10k vanilla. I would say it's probably necessary to have him in your deck as well, because he's probably your only power hitter in this, one of the few power hitters in this deck. And with the cross rides out, he's the few cards in this deck that can hit for the magic number for 18. So like if you have him behind the AK vanilla, it's just for the 18. So yeah. Then I run 2 Swift Archer Fushimi. What he does is, if you ride this over Murakumo, this unit gets he gets to attack the back row of your opponent's field. This is usually used to snipe out the grade 0 the grade 0 Vanguard of your opponent if they actually have the Pioneer effect, and it runs and is really part of their deck's grand scheme or whatever. So it usually, in most cases, your opponent usually don't have enough cards in their hand or shield to actually block it. So this guy is pretty good. Even though this effect lasts for 1 turn, I wouldn't mind that. Oh, excuse me, I got hiccups right now. But anyways, then I run 2 Stealth Fiend Midnight Crow. He was the grade 2 I was talking about earlier, which is basically if you put on a Vanguard or Rear Guard, it's like you get to call the same copy from the deck to the Rear Guard. So usually you use this for like early game rush or pressure, just so you can get some like good damage on your opponent. So yeah. Then our grade 3 lineup is for Dueling Dragon Zombaku. What he does is, if your opponent is at a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, or during his ride phase, if he has a grade 3 or the higher Vanguard, he may pay the cost, which is discard a card to be able to normal ride. So what this card is usually do is to like basically counter like cross rides, or like there's some decks like Gold Paladins like usually ride Garmors over more Garmors just to get his place on Vanguard effect, which is Counterblast 2, just to get out of rear guard. So basically you're making them discard a card before they actually be able to do that. Or like I said, for cross rides, especially against Kagero Overlord the End, since they don't because Kaigeros don't have that grade 1 6k card that actually, like, once you place it on rear guard, you get to choose a card from your hand and put it in soul. So yeah, like against, but like other decks like the Shadow Paladins, where they got Panel Blaster Dragon and Panel Blaster Overlord, they actually have like the Nightmare Painter, which lets them soul charge. So that's their one way to get through this effect. Like and then for like Royal Paladins, they got Dream Painter here, but MLB, it doesn't really do anything against MLB because you could probably. He's not necessarily a cross ride, since you're just riding over grade 2 just to whatchamacallit. Yeah, you usually just ride straight to him rather than cross riding. But like riding the grade 3 over grade 3. But anyways, and also he's I usually use him as 11k vanilla on the rear guard. And he's like I mentioned before, he's one of the few cards that could hit for good numbers in this deck. So yeah, that's why I run 4 of them. And then our main part of the deck is I run 4 Convert Demonic Dragon Mandala Lord. Okay, his effect is the unit that's attacking this card. You get to pay the cost, which is Counterblast 1, discard the same copy from your hand to the drop zone, and it'll subtract their attack power by like 10,000 or 10k for that one battle. And yeah, it's basically the same cards are basically 10k shields if you have this as Vanguard. So yeah. So what you want to do with this deck is to basically just stall up your opponent till you actually get to a stack. If you actually build one with those grade 1 dragons, like the Cursed Breath and Turbulent Edge. So yeah. So let's see, what else can I say about this deck. But yeah, that's pretty much it about this deck. So thanks for watching, guys, and see you guys next time.